Does Amazon hold the key to Snowflake's success? According to Snowflake CEO, generally speaking, the answer could be yes. In this video, I'm going to highlight a discussion Snowflake CEO had with a Wall Street analyst who was curious about the connection between Snowflake and Amazon. I will show you how Snowflake's headwinds are coming at the same time Amazon's web services segment is declining. So let's get right into the details. So here's the question from the JPMorgan analyst asking, uh, do you think that Snowflake consumption patterns and sequential growth rates will perk up around the same time if AWS and Azure optimizations begin to normalize? So if AWS and Azure, Microsoft Azure, start to improve, will your revenue growth rate start to improve? And here's Snowflake CEO saying, we think that because Amazon is such a large percentage of our overall deployments, that they are a good proxy for our business. We just know from talking to them that what they experience, we experience as well. So the answer, generally speaking, is yes. We will see that. Microsoft is smaller, so they're not as predictive as AWS is. So AWS is very predictive to what Snowflake's revenue growth rates could be like. So now let me show you. Here is Snowflake's revenue growth over the last several quarters. And you see here a generally declining growth rate, even though the company is still growing revenue at healthy rates, 48% in the most recent update. It's still on a declining trend. So what investors want to see is that trend line flatten, maybe re-accelerate. And so they're asking, can we look to AWS to see that? So here I have pulled up AWS, highlighted AWS's revenue growth rate, and you could see here AWS revenue growth rate was 40% in Q4 2021 and then fell to 37 to 33 to 28 to 20 to 16. So you could see a steadily declining revenue growth rate for AWS, very similar to how you saw that declining revenue growth rate in Snowflake. So AWS is declining as consumers are spending less time online. Recall that when economies were in lockdown, people were spending tremendous amount of time online, streaming content, in Zoom meetings, playing games, shopping online, and more. And that meant a greater need for AWS, which provides a lot of the infrastructure for many of these services. So as economies started reopening, people are now unleashing pent-up demand for away from home activities like eating at restaurants, traveling, going to theme parks, and all that has meant less need for AWS. Now it's uncertain when growth rates will return to pre-pandemic levels, or if it will normalize at all, or if this continued unleashing of pent-up demand will persist. Now, over the weekend, there was an update that travel for Memorial Day holiday was higher than in 2019 levels. And this was the first weekend, really, that travel exceeded 2019 levels. So even though people are spending more time away from home, that recovery has yet to be fully completed. People are still unleashing that pent up demand, which indicates that this deceleration could persist for a couple of more quarters. And given that Snowflake's management has forecasted revenue growth of just 34% for the full fiscal year 2024, that indicates that Snowflake expects this revenue deceleration to continue. Now, if you're wondering when Snowflake's revenue growth could re-accelerate, I think a good place to look would be Amazon's web services. If you see Amazon's web services segment flatten out and this growth rate decreasing, this decreasing rate of growth slows and turns back upward, that could be a very positive indicator of where Snowflake's revenue growth could be in the future. So to answer the question, yes, Amazon does hold a big key to Snowflake's success. All right, but that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.